Hey there, everybody. My name is Paul Dean Blankenship, and I'm your friendly neighborhood 11th grade English teacher for Mitchell High School. As y'all probably all know, students across the district take the STAR test 3 times a year. We take it at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And it is one of the many things that we use to measure student performance and student growth over time. I'm really proud and excited to announce that my 11th graders here at Mitchell High School earned the most growth, the most academic growth for reading of all of the high school students in all of District 11. More than Coronado, more than Palmer, more than Doherty. Our 11th graders here at Mitchell outperformed everybody else, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, across the entire district. I pushed them really hard, but they did a lot of the work. They really stepped up and took the challenge. And I know that reading is not everybody's favorite hobby. A lot of people would rather scroll or do something else, but they put in the time and the effort, and they showed the growth for it. And I'd like to recognize them for such an outstanding accomplishment. But I do want to brag about them, and I do want to say that even if something is not your favorite, even if something is hard, even if something is scary, that if you really put your mind to it, if you put in the effort, if you listen to your teachers and to your friends and ask questions and get help, that you really can be a superstar, just like the 11th graders here at Mitchell are superstars in District 11. There's a couple things that you can do to also help if you are trying to get better at reading. Read theory is something that everybody at Mitchell High School has access to, and I know that it can be kind of boring sometimes, but it is really, really helpful at developing stamina. So being able to read challenging texts for a long period of time, and to being able to build up our endurance to read more challenging texts for a longer period of time is something that can really help us, especially when we're reading things like college textbooks or being able to read novels that are more stimulating, and being able to do better on standardized tests like the SAT and things like that. Also in my class, we use a lot of what's called No Red Ink, and you can access No Red Ink for free. If you were going to take the SAT soon, or if you were maybe taking some other acceptance test for a college or something like that, and you wanted to do better on it, you can go to No Red Ink and you can study concepts that are available in there. It's all the boring grammar stuff like how to use periods or commas, whether you use a semicolon or a regular colon, modifying danglers, and all these fancy things that are kind of boring to learn in a classroom, but you get infinite practice and infinite opportunities to be able to learn those things, and they really, really are helpful on standardized tests especially. Of course, there's always just reading for fun. Like in the library, they've got book bingo, they have tons of books, a lot of newer books, which is fantastic, young adult authors. I'm going to tell you, quite frankly, one of my favorite authors to read is Terry Pratchett. He wrote the entire Discworld series. It's like 30-something books, but each book is a standalone, and they're oftentimes considered young adult novels because they are easy to read, but the ideas are really fun and really cool. And quite literally, that Discworld, even though some people view it as a young adult, it's my favorite book series I've ever read, and it's my wife's favorite book series I've ever read. So I encourage going to the library, talk to them about things that you're interested in, and they can help you out with finding stuff that you can read that you actually do want to read as well. One thing, just to be super nerdy as an English teacher, when we're looking at STAR tests and things like that, we're looking at grade levels and how a student reads at a certain grade level or beyond that. One of the kind of nerdy and cool things is that really the primary difference between reading before 5th grade, so 5th grade and below, or reading after a 5th grade reading level, is to read things non-literally. So like when our friends say, "Oh, this is the worst day of my life," like very rarely do they mean that literally. So when we're reading, what we can do is we can read the text as it exists, but we can also look to see, instead of just what does it say, what do we think they mean it to say? How might they be exaggerating or changing the literal meaning of those words in order to convey a different idea? One more thing we can look at always, and this might sound a little bit cynical, but I like this especially when I'm looking at news media or when I'm looking at magazines and advertisements, but really it's almost everybody, is we can look at what is the author's intent. And what that means is not just to entertain us, like if they're telling a story, but if we pretend every time we read something, watch something, or exposed to something, if we pretend that that author is trying to convince us to do something or to believe something, that can help us understand an author's intention in a text a heck of a lot better as well.